there will come a moment in your life, and maybe it's already here, where you'll look at the woman you love, can realize she's slipping through your fingers. Not because she stopped loving you, not because she found someone else, but because you stopped showing up like the man she fell for. You stopped being present. You stopped listening, really listening. You started treating her like she'd always be there. You stopped leading. You stopped owning your energy. You started coasting, hiding, shrinking, and little by little, without even realizing it, you became a ghost in your own relationship. She began to look at you and not see you anymore. And here's what most men don't understand until it's too late. Women don't leave all at once. They leave slowly. They leave emotionally. First, they leave in silence. They stop trusting you with their truth. They stop reaching for your touch. They stop feeling safe in your presence, okay? And by the time they walk out the door physically, they've already been gone for months, maybe even years. And you're left standing there, confused, angry, hurt, telling yourself, but I gave her everything. No, brother, you gave her what you thought was enough, but you stopped giving her what she actually needed, your full masculine presence. And don't get it twisted. This isn't about buying her more flowers or taking her on more dates or learning some trick to keep her interested. This is about becoming the man you were supposed to be, the man she saw in you when she first fell in love, the man who stood tall, who had purpose, conviction, energy, depth, leadership, fire. You didn't win her by being passive. You didn't attract her by disappearing into comfort. She fell in love with your potential, but now you've gone soft. You've become safe. Not strong, not grounded, not solid, just safe. And here's what they'll never say out loud, but every woman feels. A safe man without strength is not attractive. He's convenient, he's predictable, he's nice, but he's not unforgettable. And the truth is brutal. She wants real, she wants truth. She wants a man who looks her in the eye and says, I see you, and I will not abandon myself to keep you. It's what she can trust. That's what keeps her feminine energy open to you when you stay grounded in your masculine core. But you've forgotten how to do that, haven't you? You've let stress beat the life out of you. You've let routine make you lazy. You've let fear control your voice. You've let guilt stop you from leading. And now you wake up next to a woman who barely touches you, who rolls away at night, who sighs when you speak, who feels more like a roommate than a lover. You don't fight anymore, but that's not peace. That's disconnection. That's the slow, quiet death of intimacy. And deep down, you know it. You know you've lost your edge, okay? You just don't know how to get it back. So let me tell you this, man to man, if you don't wake up now, if you don't step into your masculine energy again, you're going to lose her, not to another man, to the emptiness she feels in your presence. Because the feminine doesn't leave for someone better. She leaves for a feeling she can no longer access with you. She leaves because you stopped showing her your strength. Not dominance, not control. Strength, the kind that listens without fixing, that holds space when she cries, that remains calm when she storms, that leads when she feels lost, that says no when it needs to be said, without guilt. Hat chooses her every day, not out of obligation, but out of fire. She's not asking you to be perfect. She's asking you to be present, to be honest, to be anchored, to be the man you promised to be when she gave you her trust. But you forgot. You got distracted. And now she's slipping away. And I'm telling you, if you don't fix this now, if you don't take radical responsibility for how you've been showing up, you will lose the most sacred connection you've ever had. Not because she's cruel, but because she's human. She needs to feel you, not your money, not your promises, not your effort. You, the part of you that's been missing for far too long. The world may have told you that masculinity is toxic, that leading is outdated, that strength is scary, but her body knows better, her heart knows better. Her nervous system is waiting for you to come back, not just to her, but to yourself. There is a version of you she still believes in, even if she doesn't see him anymore. He's not the guy who apologizes for wanting more. He's not the guy who withholds his truth because it might cause tension. He's not the guy who watches her slip away and does nothing but retreat into silence. He's the man who leads. He leads himself first, his mind, his emotions, his mission. He doesn't wait to be told what to do. He doesn't hesitate in the face of hard conversations. He doesn't vanish the moment things get uncomfortable. She wants that man back, not because he's convenient, but because he's anchored. See, the feminine doesn't want to carry the weight of the relationship. She's tired, not physically, but energetically. She's tired of holding the frame, tired of being the only one initiating real conversations, tired of being the only one who's emotionally present. She wants to rest, but she can only rest in a man who's standing fully in his truth. And you've left the frame, haven't you? You started letting her energy lead everything. You followed her moods instead of holding steady. You waited for her to initiate intimacy. You let her make every plan, every move, every decision. Not because you're weak, but because you thought it would make her happy. But that's not what she needed. She needed your presence, not your passivity. Because when a man abandons the role of masculine leadership in his relationship, woman doesn't feel more loved. She feels more alone. She starts to wonder, why do I have to be the one holding everything together? And once that thought takes root, the rot begins. Now listen closely. Leadership is not control. It's not command. It's not being the loudest voice in the room. It's being the most grounded voice in the room. Leadership in a relationship is emotional courage. It's spiritual steadiness. It's consistency of direction. It's integrity. Not just with your words, but with your actions. It's being the mountain, not the storm. And when she feels that again, when she senses you're not afraid of her emotions, she can trust you. How when she sees you holding your own truth, even if it's hard, she respects you. When she feels your heart open without you losing your edge, she remembers why she chose you. But most men are never taught how to hold this kind of masculine frame. They're told to be nice, to just listen, to never upset her, to just give her space. So they disappear. They shut down. They walk on eggshells. They withhold everything that makes them feel like men, and then wonder why intimacy dies. Here's the truth. Intimacy dies when polarity dies. Polarity dies when the masculine abandons its essence. And that essence is presence. It's not just being physically near, but emotionally rooted, energetically available, strong in heart and spine. You don't have to become someone else. You don't have to be louder. You don't have to force anything. You just have to return to what is already inside you. The part of you that knows how to lead with integrity. The part of you that can hold emotion without collapsing. It's a part of you that feels what's true, even when it's hard to say. Because that man is irresistible. That man awakens something ancient in her. He doesn't try to fix her feelings. He doesn't run from conflict. He doesn't need her to always be okay in order to stay calm himself. He meets her chaos with calm. He meets her anxiety with clarity. He meets her fire with depth. That is masculine presence, And when you return to that, you don't just get her back. You get yourself back, You remember what it feels like to walk into a room and not need anything from anyone. To speak because you have something to say, not something to prove. To love her without losing yourself in her. To be fierce in your devotion, but never apologetic for your boundaries. Because here's what no one tells you. A woman's respect is earned, not through compliance, but through consistency. Consistency in how you show up, in how you lead, in how you hold your truth, especially when it's uncomfortable. She wants to trust your spine more than your smile. She wants to feel your heart, but not at the cost of your power. She wants to surrender, but only to a man who doesn't flinch when she tests his edge. And yes, she will test it. Because every feminine woman tests a man to feel his strength. not maliciously, but instinctively, to see what you're made of, to know whether you can be trusted with her truth, not just when she's soft, but when she's chaotic, emotional, frustrated, fiery. That's when the test comes. If you retreat, if you react, if you shut down, run away, or explode, she knows you're not the man who can hold her. But if you breathe, if you listen, if you hold your ground without needing to fix or flee, she feels it. Her whole body softens because you've proven that you're not afraid of her. And that is everything. Most men only realize the importance of presence after they've lost it, after the spark is gone, after her eyes go dull, after the silence between you becomes more familiar than the sound of her laughter. And by then, you're scrambling, searching for answers, looking for tricks to win her back. But here's the raw truth. You don't win her back by chasing. You don't win her back by flooding her with texts, or buying last-minute gifts, or finally saying what you should have said 6 months ago. You win her back by becoming a man who doesn't need to win anyone back. A man who commands respect, not with noise, but with integrity. A man who walks with direction, not desperation. That man isn't perfect, but he's real. And when a woman feels that kind of realness, it shakes her. It makes her pause. Because it's rare, and her feminine intuition can sense it from miles away. But let's not pretend this transformation is easy. It's not a switch you flip. It's a death and a rebirth. You have to bury the boy inside you, the one who needs approval, the one who fears confrontation, the one who manipulates by pleasing. And you have to resurrect the man, the one who doesn't abandon himself to keep the peace, the one who knows his values and lives by them, the one who can hold grief, joy, anger, and love without becoming any of them. You don't become that man by reading quotes on Instagram. You become him in the fire, in the confrontation, in the hard conversations you've been avoiding, in the boundaries you've been too afraid to set, in the stillness you've run from. Because the more still you become, the more truth you will hear. And the truth is, you've been hiding, not just from her, but from yourself. And when you hide from yourself, you force her to carry the emotional weight for both of you. She starts making decisions you should have made. She starts guiding the relationship when you stopped. She starts stepping into your role, not because she wants to, but because someone had to. And over time, that imbalance creates resentment. You become less her partner, more her burden. It doesn't happen all at once, piece by piece. She starts to close. She stops smiling as much. She avoids intimacy. She withholds sex, not out of punishment, but out of disconnect. Because a woman cannot open herself to a man she does not trust to lead. She might love you. She might care deeply. But if she doesn't feel your presence, she cannot fully give herself to you. And that's what you're missing, isn't it? You've been focusing on what to do instead of who to be. It's not about more effort. It's about deeper energy. You don't need more compliments. You need clarity. You don't need better date nights. You need direction. You don't need to make her happy. You need to make yourself whole. Because a woman can only surrender to a man who is already full. Not full of ego, not full of performance, full of truth, of presence, of essence. And if you don't have that, she can't rest in you. And if she can't rest in you, she'll start looking for places where she can. Not always in another man. Sometimes in her career, in her friends, in her independence, in her solitude. And you, LB, sitting there wondering what happened, while she's quietly mourning the version of you that disappeared. So hear this now. You can rebuild, but not by chasing her. You rebuild by reclaiming yourself, by showing up every single day as the man you promised to be, not for her approval, but because you refuse to live as a watered-down version of who you are. You stop lying, you start leading, you reconnect to your purpose, you take care of your body, your mind, your emotions. You stop outsourcing your power to her reactions. Because when a woman sees you doing that, she feels something awaken in her. She feels safe. Safe to surrender. Safe to open again. Safe to stop leading and soften into her own feminine. And that's what she's wanted all along. Not a puppet, not a yes man, not an emotional ATM. A man with gravity. A man she can relax into. And the moment she feels that again, you'll see it in her eyes. That light, that warmth, that pull. Not because you chased her, okay? But because you stood the fuck up and became the man she always believed you could be. There's a moment, somewhere along this journey, when you stop trying to get her back. And you start asking, who am I without her? And that's the question that truly matters. Because everything changes the moment you realize this transformation isn't about her. It's not about what she thinks. It's not about how fast she forgives. It's not even about whether she stays or goes. It's about you. It's about reclaiming the version of yourself that you've ignored, neglected, or buried under years of approval seeking, emotional avoidance, and fear. You see, men are taught to chase achievement, not alignment, to chase attention, not awareness, to chase women instead of becoming someone worth following. And it shows. We end up in relationships that feel like obligations. We lose our power, not because she took it, but because we gave it away the moment we stopped honoring our own truth. We forget that masculinity isn't loud. It isn't dominance or control. It isn't manipulation or detachment. It's direction. It's depth. It's devotion. Okay. A man in his true masculine essence doesn't lead because he wants to control. He leads because he cannot not lead. It's who he is. He walks forward with clarity, not because he knows everything, but because he trusts himself to respond to anything. He doesn't need her to validate him, doesn't need the world to praise him. He doesn't even need things to go his way, because he's found something deeper than approval. Peace. Deep, grounded stillness that doesn't shake with the winds of emotion. When a man reaches this place, women feel it instantly, because there's a calm in his eyes, a gravity in his energy, a weight to his presence that says, you are safe here. I don't need to own you to love you. I don't need to fix you to witness you. I don't need to chase you to honor you. And in that presence, she feels seen, not just looked at. Seen, she feels felt, held, understood without being solved. And here's the paradox. Most men don't understand. The more you need her, the less she feels safe with you. But the more you know who you are without her, the more she feels magnetically drawn to you. Because you've become whole, not a project, not a fixer-upper, not a boy with a big smile and an empty center, but a man who has returned to himself. And that man is dangerous, not in a harmful way, but in a liberating way. He can't be controlled, can't be guilted, can't be seduced by drama or pulled off purpose by fear. He listens deeply, not to react, but to understand. A key speaks slowly, not to convince, but to clarify. He acts decisively, not to impress, but to express what's true. This man doesn't need tricks to attract a woman. His very presence is the attraction, because masculine energy, when it's aligned, awakens something ancient in the feminine. It says, you don't have to be the strong one anymore. You don't have to carry everything yourself. You don't have to question your worth here. It gives her the freedom to drop her armor, to exhale, to feel again. But none of that is possible if you're still showing up as half a man, as the pleaser, as the performer, as the man who walks on eggshells, waiting for her to give him permission to be himself. That's not love. That's survival. And she can feel the difference. Love requires your truth. It's not just your affection, not just your attention, your honesty. Here, woman needs to hear your no. She needs to feel the weight of your yes. She needs to know you. Stand firm in the storm, even when it asks her storm. Not to overpower her, not to ignore her, but to remind her, I'm still here. I'm not going anywhere, but I won't abandon myself to make you feel better. That's the kind of man she remembers, the kind of man she respects, The kind of man she can fall in love with again and again. And that's the man you're becoming, not just for her, but because you're done being less than you are. You're done betraying yourself, done pretending, done seeking softness in women because you refuse to develop strength in yourself. You want real connection. Be a real man. It's not the kind that yells or dominates. It's the kind that feels deeply, acts clearly, and holds himself accountable. That kind of man changes everything. He doesn't just get his woman back, he gets himself back. And when that happens, the world starts to move differently. You attract differently. You speak differently. You walk into rooms and people notice something they can't quite name, but they feel it. Because real masculinity isn't loud, it's undeniable. So now, the question becomes, what kind of man are you becoming when no one is watching? Not the one trying to impress, not the one trying to fix, not the one trying to avoid conflict, but the one who can look in the mirror and say, I know who I am, because she will feel that. Will feel when you've stopped trying to be good and started being true. She'll feel when you've stopped reacting to her every move and started responding from your center. You might think it's too late, that too much damage has been done, that she's already halfway out the door, or maybe long gone. Let me tell you something, she'll never say out loud. She doesn't need you to be perfect. She needs to feel that you're alive again, that you have fire in your chest, that you willing to show up, not with false promises or rehearsed words, but with a steady heart and an unshakable spine. She wants to know you won't collapse when things get hard. She wants to see if you can hold her sadness without absorbing it. She wants to know you can face your own shadows, so she doesn't have to carry your unspoken fears for you. Because whether she says it or not, she's been waiting for you. Not the version you presented to win her over. Not the man you've been pretending to be, the real one. The one who lives beneath all of that. The one who's been quiet for too long. The one who doesn't hide behind performance or politeness or apology. The man who leads, not because he needs to control, but because he finally knows his worth. If you think the path forward is about her, it's not. It's about you rising into the man who doesn't need her to stay, but becomes the kind of man she can't help but gravitate back to. 'Cause your energy speaks louder than your words. 'Cause your groundedness calms her nervous system. Because your eyes say, you can be all of you here, and I won't disappear. And maybe she'll stay. Or maybe she won't. That's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to never again shrink yourself to be tolerated. To never again lie to avoid discomfort. To never again hand over your leadership out of fear of being too much. You are not too much. Your truth is not a threat. Your clarity is not aggression. Your presence is not a burden. You've just been told it is, by a world that fears real men. Men who own their power. Men who speak with purpose. Men who protect without possession. Men who love with both tenderness and strength. And now, it's time to become that man. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Now, because there is no more time to waste. There is no more time to scroll past your pain. No more time to blame her for your numbness. No more time to hide behind humor or distraction or your work. The clock is ticking, not on your relationship, but on your masculine soul. And if you don't rise now, you may never. You'll look back, maybe a year from now, maybe 10, and realize you didn't lose her. You lost you. You lost the version of yourself that could have changed everything. The version that was ready to lead, to love, to stand, but you were too afraid. So this is your invitation to return, to reclaim, to remember. You don't have to scream. You don't have to prove. You just have to decide. No more. No more shrinking. No more performing. No more delay. Because the kind of woman you dream of, the kind of love you longed for, will only meet you when you've made that decision. And when she does, you'll be ready, not to possess her, not to fix her, but to meet her as a man.